Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Realistic League Expansion series featuring the Baltimore Panthers. Today, I plan on taking a look at player training, player mentorship, and also taking care of the first month of the season. Before we do that, let's take a look at our positions. Our point guards, Jaden Hardy, Nikola Topic, and Markelle Fultz. Jaden Hardy last year came off the bench primarily and put up 10 points per game, 2 rebounds, and 2.5 assists. Until Nikola Topic can prove himself as a reliable player on this team, Hardy will have the starting point guard role. Coming off an ACL injury, Nikola Topic only played 3 games with the Oklahoma City Thunder, so technically he is not a rookie, but I'm going to treat him as a rookie because he's only 20 years old. This is what Nikola Topic's attributes are looking like. He's a very decent inside scorer, he's a good three-point shooter, a very good playmaker, and solid all-around skills. Since he is 6'7", he can run a lot of different positions out there, the point guard and shooting guard primarily, although he could even run the small forward. Nikola Topic also has 4 badges at the moment, all of them being bronze playmaking badges. Last but not least is Markelle Fultz, who put up 9.5 points for me last year, 2 rebounds, and 1.5 assists. He's a very decent player, a solid mid-range shot, although the three is very lackluster. His perimeter defense is also the best for my point guard rotation at the moment. For the start of the season, I will start Jaden Hardy and treat Nikola Topic as my sixth man. At the starting shooting guard position, it will be Steve Forbes. The 78 overall player is our third overall pick, and he had a very impressive run in the Summer League. He's 22 years old and is a very versatile player, very decent at a lot of different things. He can also run multiple lineups and has a wingspan of 6'11". Despite being a lower overall and older, Terrence Shannon Jr. outperformed Caleb Houston last season. However, to start this season off, I'm going to split their minutes and see who does better this season. Our small forwards at the moment are Aaron Wiggins, Gary Payton II, Pacome Daddier, and also Isaac Ewing. Given his history with injury last year, Aaron Wiggins will be on a minutes restriction to start the season off, although I don't really plan on giving Gary Payton II a lot of minutes. Pacome Daddier and Isaac Ewing will at least get 10 minutes each to prove themselves on the court. Gary Payton will be more of a sideline leader, kind of like Udonis Haslem with the Miami Heat a couple seasons ago. I'll only give him minutes if I absolutely have to. Although Al Horford is listed as my best power forward on the team, Ryan Dunn and Toumani Camara will split majority of the minutes amongst the power forward position, while Horford will fill in case of injury. For now, I'm going to give Toumani Camara an opportunity to continue what he was doing last year as the majority starter for my team and also the top leading scorer. Dunn, for the start of the season, will come off the bench, and depending on how we do for this season, he'll either remain there or get his starting position back, while Camara or Wiggins goes back to the bench. For my center position, obviously Alperen Sengun will be my starting center. He'll be a primary ball handler of this team. I made sure of that. So he'll be playing point center out there a lot. I also have Paul Reed out there, and depending on the rotation, they may share minutes together. Ibu Baji is also back from last year. Depending on how his production is, he may get himself a actual guaranteed contract. This is what the starting lineup will look like for the start of the season. Jaden Hardy, Steve Forbes, Aaron Wiggins, Toumani Camara, and Alperen Sengun at the center position. This is what my bench is looking like. Nikola Topic as my sixth man. Ryan Dunn will be my seventh man. Markelle Fultz, Terrence Shannon Jr., Caleb Houston, Paul Reed, Pacome Daddier. The last 2 players in my rotation is Isaac Ewing and Ibu Baji, who will get more than 10 minutes each. I'll be running a 14-man lineup, leaving Horford and Gary Payton II with 0 minutes each. This is what the individual training will look like for the start of the season. Forbes will focus on his offensive skill. Jaden Hardy will continue his two-way development. Nikola Topic will develop his offensive game. Caleb Houston all-around development. Ryan Dunn two-way development. Pac Home, EA, two-way development. Shannon Jr., Isaac, two-way development. Alperen Sengun will focus on his defensive skills. For the rest of the team, Aaron Wiggins will focus on two-way development. Kamara will focus on two-way development. Paul Reed will focus on all-around development. And Ibubaji offensive development. Definitely a very heavy emphasis on two-way development. I want to turn some of these younger players into decent role players and potentially move them to a contender. Our first game against the Philadelphia 76ers, a 19-point loss. Paul Reed with 17-6 off the bench to lead us in scoring. Steve Forbes with 16 2-1s across the board to make his rookie debut. Sengun 13-6-2 to make his Panthers debut. And we also had Wiggins and Kamara at 12 each. Nikola Topic added 7-2-3, although on 3 of 9 shooting. The next game against the Detroit Pistons was a win. Alperen Sengun 24-5-7 with 2 steals. Jaden Hardy 17-2-3 with 2 steals. Wiggins and Kamara both 13. Forbes with 11 and Reed with 11 as well. Despite the loss to the Brooklyn Nets, Steve Forbes was on top of the box score tonight with 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. He also shot the ball 8 of 11. Unfortunately, though, he did have 5 turnovers. Sengun with a nice double-double, 19, 10, and 3, and the rest of the team struggled mightily. Our next game was against the Denver Nuggets. Jaden Hardy was 17, 3, and 8 on 7 of 8 shooting. Wiggins with 15, Topic with 14, 3 off the bench, Sengun with 13, 5, and 8 with 3 stocks, Forbes with 12, 5, and 3 stocks. The Miami Heat offered us a trade package for Jaden Hardy, Duncan Robinson, and a 2028 protected first-round pick. Before I commit to making trades, first I want to check and see how the team performs. Depending on how we perform at the first half of the season, then that will dictate how I make trades. A fairly close game in the fourth quarter, but we ultimately win after a 37-27 fourth quarter run. Wiggins and Sengun added 17, Hardy with 14, and Topic with 10 off the bench. Here's what Toumani Camara was averaging a few games into the season: 7.5 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists per game. To start the season off, he was shooting the ball very poorly, so I decided to give Ryan Dunn, the younger player, an opportunity to shine as a starter. Immediately at the next game, Toumani Camara decides to have the best game of his season with 17-4 off the bench in just 18 minutes of action. I also wanted to highlight Jaden Hardy's 24 points in just 21 minutes. Next up is the Oklahoma City Thunder, a team that we made a draft day trade with. We traded Brandon Clarke and the rights to Vaughn for Nikola Topic. Clarke in this game put up 13, 5, and 2 stocks in just 14 minutes of play. Vaughn, on the other side, did not play. This is what Brandon Clarke is averaging with the Oklahoma City Thunder: 5.3 points per game, 3.3 rebounds, less than an assist per game, and 1 stock per game. Our next game was up against the Cleveland Cavaliers, where Forbes once again on top on the scoring leaders with 19, 2, and 3 on 8 of 10 shooting. Houston also added 15 points in just 9 minutes, and Forbes added 8 in just 11. Sengun unfortunately only played 19 minutes this game as he left the game early with an injury. He sustained a broken right leg, which will keep him out for 6 to 8 weeks. Because of the severity of the injury, I decided to use up our second two-way contract to sign another backup center. Dell Nelson will come in as a B- inside scorer, a B- 3-point shooter, and an A- inside defender, while also being a B+ rebounder. We're going to give him that minimum 1-year two-way deal, and he happily agrees to the contract offer. With the injury to Alperen Sengun, Jaden Hardy has stepped up to be the number 1 scoring option of this team for now. Paul Reed added 14, 12, and 4 stocks. Forbes, a bit inconsistent, 11, 2, and 2, but that's to be expected from a rookie guard. Wiggins with 11, 6, and 1s across the board, and Forbes added 10 minutes with an increased role. Here's a nice decent win against the Memphis Grizzlies. Forbes put up 24 and 2 stocks. Hardy with 17, 6, and 4 with 1 steal, 15, 4, and 1 block for Reed. Kamara off the bench, 11, 5, and 1, and Forbes put up 9, 3, and 2. Right after the game, Paul Reed sustained a bruised left shoulder, which will keep him out for 1 to 2 weeks. He can definitely play through the injury, but I prefer for him to sit out and not risk aggravating it. With all the injuries to my big man, Al Horford will be the starter. Ryan Dunn 28 minutes, Wiggins 26, Forbes with 35, and Jaden Hardy with 31. With this loss to the Boston Celtics a month into the season, we're sitting at a record of 5-10. This puts us 29th on the power rank and 14th in our conference. Before finishing this video, I also want to take a look at player stats and the upcoming 2026 NBA draft prospects. We saw the projected number 1 overall pick play in the summer, Lonnie Paul. He's a shooting guard that comes in very versatile on offense while also being a great defensive player. He has great athleticism, great perimeter defense, and great three-point shooting coming into the draft. He doesn't have a lot of weaknesses in his game. He's compared to Dwayne Wade and Sam Jones and has all-NBA potential, a good playmaker, does a solid job at anticipating, a deadly jump shooter, and could be an all-star someday. Philip Walsh is the second best player from this draft class, a solid inside and three-point scorer, although mid-range and everything else is kind of lackluster to start off his career. He is 22 years old, but does have Hall of Fame potential. He is compared to legend Dominique Wilkins, Hall of Fame potential, but he does have Darius Miles-Benz potential as well, which is not good. He's a very boomer-bust type of player. Probably safe to stay away from him. 22 years old, also not the best. The next player from this draft class is Malik Mills, a 6'4" shooting guard that is very versatile and good at a lot of different things. He has a B inside scoring, B mid-range shot, a C+ three-point shot, B playmaking, A- perimeter defense, a C- post defense, which is league average for a shooting guard, a D+ rebounding, and an A athleticism. The next player in this draft class is Richard Ingram. He comes in with a solid inside scoring off rip, a decent three-point shot at a C+, C playmaking, which is solid. Perimeter defense is a bit weak, but he does have a B post defense, which is very good for his position. A C+ rebounding is average for his position, and he does have a B+ athleticism as well. He is 6'6", 19 years old, making him one of the younger players of this draft class. This is what his scouting bullet points look like. He's compared to 2 Hall of Famers, Tim Duncan and Dan Issel, and he could definitely be a very decent defensive-oriented player in this league. Him being 6'6" kind of limits that, but he has a very decent wingspan to go alongside his NBA-ready body, so I'm very excited to see what he can do. The next player is also another shooting guard, a defensive-oriented, versatile player that could potentially develop all-around skills. Coming into the NBA, he will be one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. His draft comparison is Sidney Moncrief and Tony Allen, both of them being all defensive caliber defenders, and Moncrief even won 2 Defensive Player of the Years at the guard position. Some of his strengths are being able to drive to the basket, being a good leaper, and an overall plus athlete, and a very capable defender, both in the post and on the perimeter. The next player I found very intriguing is Kelvin Reed. He's ranked as the 9th best player from this draft. He is a bit raw on the offensive side of the ball, only scoring as a C- offensive player, but he could be a very decent defensive player coming into the league with an A- post defense, B+ rebounding, and solid all-around athleticism. This is the last player I'll show for now, the 14th ranked player in this draft, a 6'6" small forward power forward with a very good three-point shot, but everything else is at a C+ level. He does show good potential to become a versatile player and has decent potential as well. Alright, this is the last part of this episode. Let's take a look at the box score leaders. Alperen Sengun is our scoring leader with 16 points per game, although he's only played 9 games because of the injury. Steve Forbes is second with 14, and Hardy right behind him with 14 as well. Wiggins with 13 points, and everybody else is under double digits. Markelle Fultz puts up 9.5 points per game in just 13 minutes of play. Our rebounds leader is also Alperen Sengun. Paul Reed right behind him with 6. Nelson, our two-way acquisition, has put up 5 rebounds per game. Ryan Dunn with 5, and Toumani Camara with 4.5 rebounds per game. Our assist leader is also Alfred Sengun with 5 assists per game. Jaden Hardy, our starting point guard, with 3.5 assists per game, and Nikola Topic with 3.5 as well. Steve Forbes averages 2.5, and Ryan Dunn with 2 assists per game. Our steals leader is also Alfred Sengun with 1.5 steals per game. Ryan Dunn and Steve Forbes right behind him with 1.1 steals per game. Ryan Dunn and Alfred Sengun tied to be our blocks per game leaders with 0.7, Wiggins with half a block per game, and Steve Forbes as a shooting guard got more blocks per game than Paul Reed did. Markelle Fultz's per 36 numbers look astonishing 15 games into the season, as he's averaging 26, 5, and 4 with 2 steals and half a block per game. The per 36 numbers do not lie. When it comes to his production, there has been a very good increase in that. I wanted to highlight Nikola Topic's versatility when it came to per 36 numbers, 15.5 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, and 6.5 assists, while putting up 3/4 of a steal and half a block per game. Moving forward, I'm very excited to see Nikola Topic's development, as he's already up 2 overall points from the start of the season. Once he finds that 3-point shot, he'll definitely be inserted in the starting lineup. For the moment, Toumani Camara comes off the bench, and he has turned it around a little bit. He is shooting the ball much more efficiently from the bench, as he's averaging 7 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, and 1.5 assists per game. 15 games into the season, I wanted to show Caleb Houston's development from last year. Despite the scoring going down per game, his rebounds per game and assists per game do show a growth in his overall talent. His steals per game is also up tremendously from last year. Terrence Shannon Jr. having a very rough start to his year 2, a big sophomore slump for him. 3 points per game, less than 1 rebound per game, not even 1/10 of an assist, half a steal, quarter of a block. The shooting percentage is looking terrible, but hey, the free throw percentage is up 10%. Our other rookie, Isaac Ewing, is also struggling. Hopefully, he can turn it around. I'll give him a few more minutes and a few more games to prove himself out there. And if he doesn't improve, then he'll be sent down to the G League. All right, man, this is where I'm going to end this episode. Next episode, I'll simulate to the All-Star break and hopefully make a trade or two. Thank you for watching so much. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe, as it really helps out in the YouTube algorithm space. All right, man. Peace.